Now a Target 12 investigation, months in the making, trail of debts.
Why aren't you being transparent with voters on that?
Tim, come on.
Our investigation reveals State Rep Carlos Tobon, a member of the powerful House Finance Committee, has racked up a mountain of unpaid debts. Multiple lawsuits have been filed against the lawmaker seeking repayment, and we've discovered he repeatedly failed to disclose those debts to the Ethics Commission as required by law.
Let's get right to Target 12 investigator Tim White with the exclusive details.
State Representative Carlos Tobon's financial history is littered with questionable transactions and legal disputes. Multiple people accuse Tobon of borrowing money, then turning his back on them. When it comes to State Representative Carlos Tobon, more than anything, Gloria Tejada says she wishes she could turn back the clock.
Do you regret taking part in that deal?
Yes. Yes, I regret completely.
In 2020, Tejada was approached by Tobon, who said he was concerned he was going to lose his home on Lawn Avenue in Pawtucket. Tobon asked Tejada to register a new business to buy the house from him. In exchange, Tobon would use the money to pay off his mortgage and give Tejada some cash. Tobon promised he would continue to pay the mortgage and insurance.
Oh, yes, everything was from him. Everything. The only I did is that was only my signature.
But within months, Tejada grew uncomfortable with the unusual arrangement and wanted out. Records show she soon transferred the business to Tobon's wife. Yet Tejada says she's still dealing with the fallout. She just received this letter from a collection agency about an unpaid insurance bill.
What advice would you have to people that down the road Carlos might approach to?
Oh, don't pay attention to him. Don't pay attention. Please, please be careful because the promise he is give some never complete. So please.
Target 12 has learned Tejada is not alone. After reviewing thousands of pages of financial documents, court records, and government filings involving Tobon, here's just some of what our team uncovered. In April, a judge ordered Tobon to repay a woman $45,000 to cover a debt from 17 years ago. Another woman took Tobon to court in 2018, saying he owed her $10,000. He later repaid her using money from his deal with Gloria Tejada. A family on Sterry Street in Pawtucket says they hired Tobon to help rebuild their home after a fire. Records show Tobon cashed the insurance checks, but the family told the state he never completed the work. In 2016, a contractor sued Tobon, saying he didn't get paid for work on one of the lawmaker's rental properties. Tobon lost the building to foreclosure, and the contractor's lawyer says Tobon owes his client just over $30,000. That case is awaiting trial. In 2017, Tobon was taken to court after he'd borrowed money from a colleague and promised to pay him back within 2 weeks, but the man still hadn't been fully repaid when he died the next year. Credit card companies also took Tobon to court, and Pawtucket sued him for back taxes. Tobon agreed to sit down with Target 12. Why should your constituents in Pawtucket and as a member of the House Finance Committee, the people of Rhode Island, feel confident in you as an elected official?
So, Tim, I think that in part tells the story of America, where somebody gets up and gives it a try. And when you give it a try, there's risks.
Tobon, a Pawtucket Democrat, was first elected in 2014. In an interview with Target 12 that lasted over an hour, he defended his actions while acknowledging he's made mistakes. I think people might dispute with you that the story of America is trying by hurting people.
Absolutely not. And again, they will say they're victims, and so will I.
Why do people have to take you to court? You know you owe them money.
But I had been paying them. It's just I can't pay them at the schedule that they asked at times for many reasons. And so when it gets to that point, they say, well, I'm going to take it to court. What else do I do?
He insists he always made an effort to pay.
But the thing is that those payments are endless. And when I have a son, I also have to feed him.
Well, payments aren't endless. Payments go until the debt is repaid.
I understand.
Court filings show Tobon had used his parents' home as collateral for the 17-year-old loan that a judge just ordered him to repay. The plaintiff's lawyer alleges that's fraud because you can't use someone else's property to secure a loan. Tobon says he got bad advice.
Unfortunately, that wasn't legal, but at the time I didn't have an attorney. I didn't know, and I trusted in a third person that was a successful real estate investor.
Tobon took the biggest issue with the allegations of incomplete work on the Sterry Street home, saying the homeowner there was demanding and unrealistic about how far the insurance money could go. As for the unusual property deal involving Gloria Tejada, Tobon says he feels Tejada let him down and insists he only recently learned of the unpaid insurance bill.
Absolutely, these are things that I want to take care of. I mean, it doesn't take you, Channel 12, or anybody for me to do these things. And when I make a mistake, I own up to it. But sometimes owning up to it and being able to cover it at the time when someone wants, sometimes that's hard.
Well, one might say you own up to it when you're taken to court.
No, absolutely not.
Tobon also helped set up 6 limited liability corporations. Each one had its registration revoked by the state for failing to file a required annual report. Target 12 asked Tobon if those companies paid taxes.
I believe so. You know, that was so long ago. But I'd have to check my taxes.
The State Ethics Commission requires lawmakers to report unpaid debts in the interest of transparency, but Target 12 reviewed Tobon's filings and found he repeatedly failed to do so.
I wasn't hiding anything. I never thought that one had to do with the other. You know, as politicians, we're not perfect. I'm human. As a member of the House Finance, I think I bring a different perspective. Everything in life is not perfect, and I've dared to try things. I've dared to go out there and get dirty, and I've made mistakes, and I've lost in between.
The documents we obtained also raise questions about whether Tobon is listing his home address accurately on campaign documents. On voter registration forms, your Board of Election filings, and Ethics Commission filings, you say you live at 30 Bloomingdale Avenue in Pawtucket. You don't live there, do you? Our investigation continues. Coming up, new at 6. With the Target 12 investigators, Tim White, 12 News.
Now, our exclusive Target 12 investigation trail of deaths continues.
You don't live there, do you?
I've lived in 30 Bloomingdale the majority of the time. I live at 104 Lawn Ave. Is it defrauding? Am I hurting people because of that? I mean, clearly, it's not a secret, but I've put everything there because that has always been the permanent place.
As we first told you at 5, our months-long investigation into State Representative Carlos Tobon shined a light on his financial and business dealings. New at 6, our investigation is also raising questions about where he tells voters he lives.
Target 12 investigator Tim White is here now with the exclusive details.
While we found State Representative Carlos Tobon does live in the district he represents, it's not the address he uses on official documents, from campaign paperwork to his voter registration. State Representative Carlos Tobon lists 30 Bloomingdale Avenue in Pawtucket as his home on Board of Elections filings, voter registration forms, and State Ethics Commission filings. But Target 12 found him here at 104 Lawn Avenue.
It's 2 blocks away. It's within the same district that I represent.
Yes.
It's my parents' house where I literally lived for almost 20 years. It's a single family. Nothing gets lost there.
Tobon was first elected to the House of Representatives in 2014. In 2 depositions, one in 2017 and another last year, he swore under oath his home was 104 Lawn Ave in Pawtucket, not 30 Bloomingdale. Last year, he told an attorney he'd been living at Lawn Avenue since as early as 2013.
Tim, 104 Lawn Ave is not my beach home. It's not my recreational home.
What does that mean?
Again, it's 2 blocks away, and if I tell my voters I live in the district, I live in the district. I live in the district. They want somebody who's present in the district. Carlos lives in the district. Okay? And I get all my mail at 30 Bloomingdale Ave. I get everything there.
A wide-ranging Target 12 investigation into Tobon and his financial dealings has unearthed a long list of questionable deals and unpaid debts. He has been sued at least 6 times by people and companies who say they loaned him money but didn't get fully paid back. 2 of those cases are still unresolved. It starts to feel like taking from Peter to pay Paul, borrowing from this person to pay off that debt, then borrowing from another person to pay off that debt. And that pattern continues.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can see how it looks that way. But like I said, I wouldn't be here knowing that you could tell this story because of your investigative journalism. You can tell this story as it looks. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't because I believe in myself and I believe that what I'm telling you is true.
Multiple people Target 12 reached out to who say they have had negative financial dealings with Tobon declined to go on camera, some of them citing his position as a lawmaker who serves on the powerful House Finance Committee.
Did the fact that he was a lawmaker, a state representative, did that weigh on you in any way in terms of making him more trustworthy?
Yes, and and because he was more, the people knows him, and he that is the reason. Yes, it's true.
Target 12 reached Gloria Tejada in Colombia. The Providence resident says Tobon approached her in 2021 asking her to open a limited liability corporation to buy his home on 104 Lawn Ave. Tobon promised to continue to pay the mortgage and bills, and in exchange he would give her cash. But the deal turned sour, and Tejada says she is still on the hook for a homeowner's insurance bill Tobon failed to pay.
Because that is the trust for the people. And I think that was my big mistake, to trust, because my husband knows him and the family. So that is the point. That was very complicated, for me to accept this situation.
Tobon says he constructed the unusual deal in an effort to avoid foreclosure. In the end, Tejada handed the LLC and 104 Lawn back to Tobon's wife. It got to the point, Ms. Tejada said, where she wanted out of the deal, and she said that you were upset by that.
She could frame it as she wishes.
Well, what's your memory of what happened?
My memory is that she got into a deal knowing she couldn't do it, but she took the money.
Of the multiple lawsuits, a judge in April found Tobon owes one woman $45,000, including interest, and a contractor who says Tobon failed to pay him for work he did in 2015 is awaiting trial for upward of $30,000. As Target 12 previously reported, Tobon failed to disclose these debts to the State Ethics Commission as required by law.
Clearly the focus is on me right now. I get it. But individuals will say certain things, especially when this remembers them of the anger that they might have had at some point. I'm not going to dismiss certain things. Again, I take responsibility for certain things. There are other things that I believe that greed got in the way.
Despite owing tens of thousands of dollars to creditors, we discovered Tobon was still able to help put together a deal in his wife's name, purchasing a new property a block from his home for $60,000. Now, Tobon insists it isn't his money, but would not disclose where the cash came from. With the Target 12 investigators, Tim White, 12 News.